You're not tired, you're fleeing. And in doing so, you're eroding yourself from the inside in a way you don't even realize. Imagine the man who walks past the building where he works every day and thinks, "Tomorrow I'll quit. Tomorrow I'll tell the truth. Tomorrow I'll escape this life that isn't mine." But tomorrow arrives, and he walks into the building again, sits at the same desk, smiles at the same faces he despises, and convinces himself that he's waiting for the right moment. That man is all of us, running from decisions, running from ruptures, running from our own freedom. And Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the most brutal philosophers to have ever existed, warned decades ago, man flees from himself when he refuses the responsibility of being who he is, when he chooses to hide behind excuses instead of taking charge of his own existence. Here, you'll understand why shirking responsibility is the most common form of existential slavery, and why true freedom requires you to stop hiding and to take full responsibility for your life, even when it hurts, even when it demands ruptures, even when it destroys the illusion of comfort you've built. If you've ever experienced this paralysis, leave a comment below. Tell me the decision you most delay, and if this video reminds you of someone who keeps running from themselves, share it now. Perhaps it's the only harsh truth that person needs to hear today. The mechanism of fleeing is more subtle than you think. You're not fleeing by running away. You're fleeing by delaying. Fleeing is saying, "I'll deal with that later," when you know you should act now. It's saying, "I'm not ready," when you know you'll never be. It's saying, "Let life decide," when you know you have to decide. Sartre would say, that's already a choice. And choosing to omit is a choice as well. You think you're being prudent, but you're being cowardly. You think you're waiting for the right moment, but you're creating the wrong one every day. Fleeing always disguises itself as wisdom. It always dresses as patience. It always hides behind phrases like, "Not the right time yet. I need to think more. I'll wait for a sign." But the brutal truth is, while you wait for the perfect moment, you're creating an imperfect life. While you delay the tough decision, you're making the easy choice to remain mediocre. And that eats away at you from the inside, because deep down, you know you're lying to yourself. You know you're fleeing. And this subterranean consciousness generates a kind of internal contempt that you cannot explain but feel every day. That's why you feel exhausted without having done anything extraordinary. That's why you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person you've become, because you become a refugee of your own life. Jean-Paul Sartre was not a gentle philosopher. He was a surgeon of the human soul, and when he cut deep. For him, the human being is condemned to be free. This means you have no choice but to choose. Even when you don't choose, you are choosing not to choose. Even when you run away, you are choosing to run away. Sartre called this bad faith. Bad faith is the act of lying to oneself to escape freedom. It's saying, "I have no choice," when you have thousands. It's saying, "It's fate," when you created the situation yourself. It's saying, "It's not my fault," when you are the only one responsible for your life. Bad faith is comfortable because it frees you from responsibility. If you have no choice, then you can't be blamed for the outcome. If it's fate, then you're just a victim of circumstances. If it's not your fault, then you can continue being who you've always been, without the weight of transformation. But Sartre destroyed that illusion with a phrase that should be engraved in every man's mind. Man is what he makes of himself, with what has been made of him. This means that regardless of what happened to you, regardless of how you were raised, regardless of the circumstances you faced, you're responsible for who you have become from this moment forward. This responsibility is terrifying, because it means there's no one else to blame. No more destiny to wait for. No more right moment to expect. There is only you, your choices, and the consequences they produce. And that is true freedom. The freedom that burns, demands, and transforms. I know a man who has been planning to leave his marriage for 5 years. Every day he wakes up thinking, "Today I will talk to her. Today I will be honest. Today I will stop pretending to be happy." But when the moment comes, he smiles, kisses his wife on the face, and pretends everything is fine. Because it's easier to lie than to face the pain of breaking apart. He convinced himself that he's protecting her, that he's being responsible, that he's waiting for the right moment not to hurt her. But the truth is that he's protecting himself. He is running away from the responsibility of admitting that he no longer loves her. He is postponing the inevitable pain because he prefers the controlled agony over the chaos of freedom. And while he delays, he is gnawing himself away. While he pretends, he disrespects himself. As he awaits the perfect moment, he is creating the wrong moment every day, because each day spent lying is a day less of authentic life for both of them. Sartre would say that this man is living in bad faith. He is lying to himself, claiming he has no choice, when the clearest choice in the world is to face the truth or to remain in deception. He chose deception, and now he hides behind the excuse that he is protecting someone. But he isn't protecting anyone. He's killing himself and killing her as well. Because a life built on lies isn't a life, it's mere existence. And existing without freedom is the cruelest form of slavery. The illusion of restarting externally is one of the most sophisticated forms of escape. You think the problem lies in your environment, the people, or the circumstances. So you move to a new city, change jobs, or switch partners. But you carry yourself into all these new places, and soon enough, you're facing the same old problems because the issue has never been external. It's always been internal. Changing environments without internal change is simply dragging your prison with you. It's like repainting the walls of a cell and thinking you're now free. True freedom isn't about what's outside of you, it's about what you do with what's inside. That's the difference between escape and genuine transformation. Escape seeks a different environment for the same person. True change seeks a different person for any environment. Escape wants circumstances to change first. Real change changes the person first, and circumstances follow. Sartre knew this. That's why he said that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is taking responsibility for everything you do and accepting that your actions have consequences that are yours alone. It's ceasing to blame the world for your results and beginning to understand that you are the sole architect of your life. This demands brutal courage because it means that if you're unhappy, it's because you chose to be unhappy. If you're trapped, because you chose to imprison yourself. If you're fleeing, it's because you chose to run. And this total responsibility is simultaneously terrifying and liberating. But I also know a man who understood this. He spent years working in a job he despised, married to a woman who didn't respect him, living a life that wasn't truly his. Every day he asked himself, how did I get here? How did I become this person? One day he stopped wondering how he arrived there and began asking how he could escape. He ceased blaming circumstances and took full responsibility for his own life. He talked to his wife, was honest about his feelings, faced the pain of separation. He resigned without having another job secured. He sold everything he had and started over from scratch. It was the most difficult time of his life, but it was also the period when he felt most alive. Because for the first time in years, he was making decisions based on what he wanted to be, not on what others expected of him. He took complete ownership of his life, even if it meant pain, uncertainty, and judgment from others. Sartre would say that this man had moved out of bad faith and into authentic freedom. He stopped hiding behind excuses and embraced the authorship of his own existence. And when you take responsibility for your own life, something magical happens. No one else has power over you. Today, this man lives the life he chose. Not because it's perfect, but because it's his. Not because it's easy, but because it's authentic. And that authenticity creates a kind of internal respect that cannot be bought, earned, or given by anyone. It can only be built through the courage to be responsible for who you are. If any part of this message has made you reflect on the escapes you maintain, mark this moment in the comments. That's where change begins. And if this has resonated with you so far, give it a like. Not for me, but for the courage you're finding to face your own truth. The pain of stopping the escape is real. But it's a different pain from the pain of avoidance. The pain of avoidance is the pain of chronic agony. It's that feeling of dying inside every day, of living a life that's not truly yours, of constantly betraying yourself. It's a pain that never ends because it's fueled by neglect. The pain of stopping the escape is the pain of rebirth. It's sharp, intense, but purposeful. It's the pain of breaking away from who you were to become who you truly are. It's the pain of abandoning the old self for the birth of an authentic being. Sartre knew this pain is inevitable, because taking full responsibility for your life requires confrontation, confronting the truth about who you have become, facing the fear of what others will think, dealing with the guilt of wasting so much time, confronting the uncertainty of what lies ahead. But it is within this collapse that true freedom begins. When you stop trying to maintain the illusion that you are in control while fleeing from all critical decisions. When you cease pretending that you are waiting for the perfect moment while wasting the present. When you stop hiding behind excuses and take on the brutal responsibility of becoming who you choose to be. The rebirth of responsible existence does not happen all at once. It unfolds choice by choice, decision by decision, day by day, each time you choose truth over comfortable lies. Each time you opt for action over strategic procrastination. Each time you embrace the consequences instead of blaming circumstances. And when you do this consistently, something extraordinary occurs. You stop being a refugee of your own life and become its author. Guilt transforms into awareness. Escapism turns into direction. Fear becomes fuel for transformation. Running away provides relief, but only responsibility grants liberation. You could spend your entire life postponing tough decisions, blaming circumstances, waiting for someone or something to change your life for you. But while you wait, you are wasting the only life you have. Sartre wasn't interested in comforting you. He was interested in freeing you. And the freedom he offers isn't sweet. It is brutal, demanding, transformative. It is the freedom to accept that you are entirely responsible for who you have become and who you will become from now on. If you want to be free, you will have to stop hiding behind excuses. You will have to stop fleeing from difficult decisions. You will have to accept that everything you do or fail to do has consequences that are yours, only yours. You don't need a new beginning. You need courage to end the escape and embrace who you truly are. You need to stop being a character in others' lives and start being the protagonist of your own story. Now tell me, are you still going to keep running away? Or have you already realized that the only way out is to take full responsibility for your life? Write that in the comments. It's your rupture contract with the life you didn't choose. And if you want to keep hearing truths that no one else will dare to tell you, subscribe. Because here, illusion does not survive. Here, you learn that true freedom is not about doing whatever you want. It's about having the courage to accept the consequences of everything you do.